A male lion walks into a pride. Within hours, the cubs are dead. The lionesses fight. They chase him. They try to hide their young. It doesn't matter. The new male hunts them down anyway. To us, the scene feels impossible. Cruel. Pointless. Almost evil. Because humans instinctively believe one thing about nature. Parents are supposed to protect their children. Yet across the animal kingdom, some animals do the exact opposite. Male lions kill cubs. Mother hamsters sometimes eat their own newborns. Birds push the weakest chick from the nest. Some fish consume the very eggs they were guarding only moments earlier. Why? Why would evolution allow something that seems to destroy its own future? The answer begins with a dangerous mistake humans often make. We judge animal behavior using human morality. Nature doesn't. Evolution has no concept of kindness or cruelty. It doesn't reward good intentions. It rewards one thing: successful reproduction. Every behavior that survives across generations exists because, somewhere in evolutionary history, it increased the chances that certain genes would continue, even when those behaviors seem horrifying. Perhaps no example illustrates this better than lions. A lion pride isn't ruled by the same males forever. Coalitions of younger males regularly challenge older ones. When they win, everything changes. The females remain. The territory remains. But the cubs often do not. For decades, biologists wondered why newly dominant males almost always killed cubs they didn't father. The behavior seemed wasteful. Until researchers realized something remarkable. A lioness nursing cubs usually doesn't become fertile again for many months. As long as those cubs survive, she won't mate. But if the cubs disappear, her reproductive cycle resumes much sooner. From the new male's perspective, killing unrelated cubs doesn't reduce his reproductive success. It increases it. Within weeks, the same females may produce offspring carrying his genes instead. This phenomenon is known as sexually selected infanticide, and it has been documented in dozens of mammal species, including lions, langur monkeys, some bears, and even rodents. It isn't driven by hatred. It is driven by reproduction. To the genes being passed forward, the difference matters. But males aren't the only ones capable of killing young. Sometimes, the mother does it herself. That sounds even harder to understand. After all, she invested energy producing those offspring. She carried them, protected them, gave birth to them. Why destroy that investment? Because in nature, keeping every baby alive is not always possible. Imagine a harsh winter. Food disappears. Temperatures fall. A mother has 6 newborns. She has enough milk for only 3. Trying to feed all 6 may kill every one of them, including herself. Evolution has shaped many species to make impossible calculations. Not consciously, but biologically. If resources become too limited, saving some offspring may require sacrificing others. Among rodents, this can happen with surprising speed. Laboratory studies and observations in the wild have shown that mothers experiencing severe stress, overcrowding, or food shortages are more likely to kill newborns shortly after birth. To humans, this feels monstrous. To evolution, it may prevent an even greater loss. 3 surviving offspring carry genes into the next generation. 6 starving offspring carry none. Nature rarely chooses the kindest outcome. It often chooses the one that wastes the fewest opportunities. Birds reveal another version of the same strategy. Many species lay more eggs than they can normally raise. At first, that seems irrational. Why produce chicks that might never survive? Because nature is unpredictable. Some years bring abundant food. Others bring almost none. Producing extra offspring creates flexibility. If food becomes plentiful, more chicks survive. If food becomes scarce, parents concentrate their effort on the strongest young. In some birds, the oldest chick even attacks its younger siblings, sometimes pushing them from the nest, sometimes preventing them from eating. This behavior, known as siblicide, has been documented in species like Nazca boobies and certain birds of prey. It is disturbing to watch. But researchers found something surprising. In years with abundant food, the younger chick often survives. In difficult years, its death greatly increases the chances that the stronger sibling reaches adulthood. Once again, the question isn't, is it fair? Nature asks a different question. Which strategy leaves behind the most descendants? And the answer isn't always the one we'd hope for. If lions and birds seem disturbing, fish become even harder to explain. Imagine spending days guarding a nest, driving away predators, cleaning every egg with careful movements, protecting them from fungus. Then, without warning, the parent begins eating them. Not one, not two, sometimes dozens. This behavior is known as filial cannibalism, and it has been documented in hundreds of fish species, including sticklebacks, gobies, and cichlids. At first, it looks like a complete failure of parental instinct, but experiments tell a different story. In many species, parents don't consume healthy eggs at random. They often eat eggs that have died, become infected, or are unlikely to hatch. Removing those eggs can stop disease from spreading through the nest, increasing the survival of the remaining offspring. Even more surprising, when food becomes scarce, a parent may consume part of its own brood to recover enough energy to protect the rest. Without that energy, the parent might abandon the nest completely, losing every egg instead of only a few. Again, nature chooses the option that leaves the greatest chance of future survival, not the one that feels emotionally right. Scientists have also discovered that stress can dramatically change parental behavior. In mammals, birds, and even reptiles, hormones released during extreme stress affect decision-making. Food shortages, overcrowding, constant disturbance, predators nearby. All of these can alter the way parents respond to their young. Among rodents, mothers exposed to severe environmental stress are significantly more likely to abandon or kill newborns shortly after birth. Not because they fail to recognize them, but because the environment has become too dangerous to raise them successfully. From an evolutionary perspective, surviving to reproduce again may be more valuable than investing everything into a litter that has almost no chance of surviving. This idea is known as parental investment theory. Developed by evolutionary biologist Robert Trivers in the 1970s, it proposes that every parent has limited time, energy, and resources. Those resources cannot be spent endlessly. Every calorie used protecting one offspring is a calorie that cannot be used producing or raising another. That doesn't mean parents consciously calculate these decisions. Evolution has simply favored behaviors that, over countless generations, produce the greatest reproductive success. Sometimes those behaviors appear compassionate. Sometimes they appear brutal. But the underlying process is the same. Perhaps the strangest part is that humans are not completely separate from these biological pressures. Throughout history, periods of famine have shown how extreme environments can alter human behavior in unimaginable ways. The difference is that humans possess culture, morality, laws, and social systems that often work against our biological impulses. We care for premature infants who would never have survived in prehistoric environments. We feed children during famines through organized aid. We protect individuals who cannot contribute to survival. Our biology still exists. But our societies allow us to rise above many of its harsher demands. Most wild animals don't have that luxury. They cannot store food for years. They cannot ask neighboring groups for help. They cannot build hospitals. When resources disappear, biology becomes unforgiving. This is why scientists urge people not to describe these behaviors as evil. Evil requires intention. It requires understanding right and wrong. Evolution understands neither. A lion does not kill cubs because it enjoys suffering. A bird does not abandon a chick out of cruelty. A fish does not eat its eggs because it failed as a parent. Each behavior exists because, at some point in evolutionary history, it increased the chances that genes survived into the next generation. That doesn't make these events any less tragic. It simply explains why they continue to exist. Perhaps that is the most uncomfortable lesson nature teaches us. The natural world isn't designed to be fair. It isn't designed to be kind. It isn't even designed to protect life itself. It protects something far more specific: the continuation of successful genes. Sometimes those two goals align. Sometimes they collide. And when they do, the outcome can seem almost impossible to accept. So, why do some animals kill their own babies? Not because they have abandoned instinct, but because they are following it. In environments where every calorie matters, where every season brings uncertainty, and where one failed decision can erase an entire bloodline, evolution has shaped strategies that maximize survival, even when those strategies look merciless through human eyes. The next time you see a documentary showing a lion killing cubs, or a bird pushing its smallest chick from the nest, it may be tempting to see monsters, but nature has never been a courtroom. There are no villains, no heroes, only organisms trying to solve the same problem every living thing has faced for billions of years: how to ensure that something of themselves survives, long after they are gone.